Ready? Okay. Hi, this was very powerful for me to see your sign, Black Male Engagement. My name is Dr. Ural H Hill, and I'm from Ural H Hill Jr., and I'm from Detroit, Michigan. Originally, in 1988, I was working for First Federal of Michigan as a banker, and I was here in the city, and two young men were killed at the bank next to me. I mean, at the cleaners next to me, over on Gratiot and Van Dyke. And at that time, I began to pray, and I said, God, how can I get involved in bringing about a change with these young men? And through my discernment and through other people that God sent and that I was able to meet, he said, go learn about it. So in 1988, I went to seminary at the Interdenominational Theological Center, and I began to study, and I started to learn about nonviolence. I joined the King Center, and I was licensed and ordained at Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta, and I was connected with people who began, a lot of mentors, Coretta Scott King and Andy Young and my pastor, Joseph Roberts, many people who have been involved in teaching nonviolence for the movement, and they began to teach it to young people and do gang work. My primary mentor was Reverend James Orange, who for Dr. King would go into the cities before the marches, and he would work with the youth gangs in each major city and make sure that instead of getting in the way of the march, he trained them in nonviolence, so they became marshals in the march. Through that work, I continued to work, and I got a job in ministry in Atlanta, working in Capitol Homes in the communities. And my message always to the young men was, you can do anything. You can do anything. Well, I continued to work, and after about a year, I realized that I needed more training because I started to lose some. I would preach to them, and I would motivate them, and I would teach them nonviolence, but I hadn't done the assessment. So I went back to school at Clark, Atlanta, and I got a master's in community mental health. And after that, my father, who was a great mentor, he was taught auto mechanics at Cooley and owned a gas station, would give young men jobs. He said, son, it would be good for you to go into law enforcement or to work with the youth at another level. So I came back to Detroit and took a job with Department of Youth and Family Services. I became a delinquency services worker and worked with adjudicated youth. And I found that the FIA was great, but the one thing that I saw missing, we gave them a stable home, we gave them clothing, we gave them food and education and even independent living. But one thing that was missing was the spirituality. And so I began to work with Pastor Holly, and we started a mentoring program.